Hey everyone, Mike Doloff, Chief Revenue Officer, Inflow Communications. Glad to be with you today. Got with me a great guest, Brendan Polk. Brendan, say hi, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, Brendan Polk, Director of Marketing here. Glad to be doing another episode.
Yeah, another episode of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of our everyday customer experiences. And this one is one that is gonna make your blood boil. So this is not my experience, it's Brendan's. I'll let him talk about it, but it's one of those ones where you scratch your head and think, how are businesses that work like this still in business? Well, they probably aren't for long. So here we go, Brendan. I'll kick it to you, man, to tell your story of your ugly experience, and we'll break it down.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Definitely an ugly one for you today. So I'll just get started. So 2 years ago, my fiance and I were going to a friend's wedding. We booked a couple of cheap flights on a budget airline. We all know there's not to expect too much there. You know, everything costs extra, etc. Just never a super great experience, but it usually gets the job done. This time, it was just terrible. So we're at home packing the night before the flight. We had booked them months ahead of time. Paid a decent amount of money, even though it was a budget flight. So we're heading to a wedding, our friend's wedding. Packing the night before, like I said, we get an email saying the flight was canceled 6 hours before takeoff with no explanation of why. So not weather related, nothing. They're just like, no, we don't have a plane. That's it. Sorry. So we get an email saying it's been canceled. No alternative flights are given in the email. No contact information is given in the email, nothing. So I'm like, okay, how do I contact this company to try and see if they can give me another flight? So I have to Google it, find a support number, try to call in. I call in, it's just ringing and ringing for hours. I tried it on my work phone, my personal phone. They're both just ringing, no one's picking up. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. So I tried to call in, nothing happened. I sent an email to their customer service because I found that through their website. Didn't hear anything back. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm out of luck. Tried looking at other flights, couldn't find anything through other airlines, nothing. It was just too close to the time we were leaving. About a week later, so I mean, we gave up and we're just like, I guess we're not going because we can't find a way out of here. We're not going to make the wedding. A week later, we get an email from them saying, oh, here's a $50 voucher. Sorry for your inconvenience. That's pretty much it, which is something I'll never use now because I'll never want to use this airline again. But yeah, it was just terrible all the way around. Too late to find any other flights. We totally missed that wedding. We lost the money on the hotel, lost the money on the flight. We got no refund, and the transportation from the airport to the hotel at our destination. So we lost a good chunk of money with no explanation, not anything except an email back with a $50 voucher. Pretty terrible.
Seems like theft.
Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah, that makes me angry just hearing that story. And so that sucks. And I'm sorry you had to go through it, but it does highlight some really good points here that we'll break down on what the heck made this so ugly. I mean, I think this one's fairly intuitive on some levels, but let's really pull it apart. So put a couple bullet points together here to kind of visualize what we're talking about. So the first one of what made this ugly wasn't the actual plane, because that is an ugly looking plane. We're used to signage on our planes. Was just that lack of communication, right? This is such a common theme on bad and ugly experiences. Communication. It seems like it could start and end here with taking something from ugly to at least bad or maybe even good. Getting a sort of generic email right before as the only means of communication with no sort of, hey, we're sorry about the inconvenience and here's what you need to do next steps, or here's what we're doing for you already would be even better. None of that. Tracking down somebody to talk to, tracking down somebody to email, and not even be able to reach anybody. So complete and utter lack of communication other than an email. I think possibly the only thing that could have made this worse, Brendan, would have been not getting that and showing up and then finding out that it was canceled. It's probably the only way they could have fallen any further on their face in this.
Yeah.
But a completely unacceptable level of communication on every front, right? The next one, the lack of channels, right? So Brendan had to hunt and peck and search and find what he could find for getting in touch with them, which a customer should never have to do, never have to look that hard. But the inability to message somebody quickly, to have a chat, to have something real time. If your only real-time channel is phone, then you better have that working and up. If you've got other channels, great, and give it the opportunity for your customer. I have a good experience I'll share in another one of these that I was able to completely handle something via chat. that was pretty urgent and time sensitive, right? And so again, no channels to do that with. You're sitting and waiting on hold or waiting for the phone to pick up from a queue that you don't even know if there's anybody in there. There's no estimated wait time, kind of that whole communication thing again. Just sort of, you have no idea. The most take something that's frustrating and it just completely makes it worse. And then I think the last two, we got a bonus one in here, but the resolution, that's important in these, right? Sometimes we have bad experiences that get resolved appropriately, and that influences how the outcome is, or ones that were that were a good experience overall, but then a bad outcome. Those again affect our. This one was just bad all the way through, and then the resolution was bad. Hey, you don't get any money back for that flight you paid for, and hey, here's a $50 voucher. That's a slap in the face. That's a voucher that will never be used. That's not resolution that's satisfactory on any level, right? And so that resolution piece is a key part through this, right? That's where things can go from bad to worse or from bad to good, I think. And then the last one as a bonus here, think about how memorable this experience is for Brendan for all the wrong reasons. That's the kind of customer experience that damages a company's brand very, very, very badly. And you know what? Brendan remembers this, and it's still frustrating and painful to think about years down the road. Do you think his families and friends know about that? Do you think people on social media know about it now? You bet. We all know that there's lots of data about a negative experience is likely to get more press, right, for somebody sharing it and willing to talk about it, share it, than a positive one. So we try to balance that on our episodes here. But the reality is human nature, we're going to share that. This has got, so maybe the company was able to walk away with a couple $100 extra from Brandon and his fiance's tickets that they should have really reimbursed in my mind, but they legally don't have to, whatever. Fine. Think of the economic impact and how memorable this experience is for all the wrong reasons. And what does that do to their brand and to their bottom line ultimately? That's what companies need to think about when you think about customer experience. It's not just that one little event, it's what's the bigger picture of that. Thanks for tuning in. That's a great ugly experience to highlight. Brendan, thanks for sharing it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Like, comment, share other experiences that you've had that we can highlight and get you on and make you famous. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.